So in order to let Java store our variables, we need to first declare its type. Unlike Python or JavaScript, for Java, we're not able to declare a variable without telling Java what type the variable will be. And why do we need to declare a variable? Because we can store the data to the variable and refer back to it later on. As the example here, this is a really long line of calculation, so we will get an answer from this, but we don't want to type this line every time when we want to use the answer from here, right? So we can assign the answer equal to, let's say, x. So later on, we can just type x and it will refer to the answer. So there are 8 primitive data types built into the Java language. These include the int, the byte, short, long, float, double, boolean, and char. For each of them, it takes a different amount of memory. However, since we name it differently, it is clearly showed that the type of data we stored. And for now, we need to know what are they stand for and what does the wrapper class do. So here we have the type name, what do they look like in Java, and the wrapper class. So wrapper class is a class that encapsulates the types, so that those types can be used to create object instance and methods in another class that need those types. So this is really useful later on, so keep it in mind that each primitive data type has a wrapper class. And the wrapper class contains more information and methods associated to that type. And the types we have here are the integer, byte, short, long, float, double, character, and boolean. And for primitive types, this is how we type them in Java, and that's how we write the wrapper classes. And note that the primitive type and wrapper class are case sensitive. The first letter for wrapper class is always capitalized. So for the first 4 primitive data types, the integer, byte, short, and long are all used to store integer numbers. The float and double are used to store decimal numbers. And the character is obviously to store each single character we have. And the boolean is used to store true or false. And all of these will be much more clear when we move on to the next few videos when we see examples for each. For now, it's just some concept for you to keep in mind. So the syntax to declaring primitive data types are like this. First, we have the type name, followed by a space, and then variable name, equal sign to the value we want to assign to them. And also make sure we have the semicolon in the end to indicate this is finished. And also I like to have a space before and after the equal sign just to make the entire line more readable. When we name our own variables, the first word is always in lowercase, and the second word, the first letter, has to be capitalized. So this is the correct way we name our variable. So we cannot have the space between the words. So this is a wrong way to declaring our variables. And this is also a wrong way to do. Technically this is fine, but we do not want to capitalize the first word. So just give you an example. Remember int, that's the type name, and this is my variable name equal to 10. So we'll assign the 10 to the integer my variable. And this is another example. Char, that's a character, and that's the variable name equal to single quotation mark A. Don't worry too much about the single quotation mark and double quotation marks for now. We will go over these when we're talking about the character and strings more detail in the next few videos. So next video, we will start with int, byte, short, and long.